Here with Matt Kim, we're doing a podcast swap, so it's going to be on both. I think we're just going to throw this on both. So thanks for coming in. We're at my studio in Vegas.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. And dude, if you guys are watching and you guys are from my channel, check in SAR, let people know, do something for the algorithm, and go check out Jake's channel.
Yeah, check out his. At least go in there. I think if you like or comment, it helps drive it. I think comments drive it. Algorithm.
So don't be a bitch. Leave a comment. Show that you support the channel and support the show. Yes. I think that's important.
Support like-minded people, because he's I've seen you. We're both friends with Arthur. I think he's the one that connected us. We are like-minded. I don't want to watch a lot of whole podcasts, but I've seen a lot of clips. We think a lot of the same things, so it's good to support people like-minded in this time.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing right now, because it's so easy to fall into this algorithm of just watching the people that they force you to watch. Mm-hmm. But you actually have to go out and seek for the people that you want to watch. And and Arthur, dude, that guy's wild, dude. Can we start with talking about Arthur?
Yeah, he's so wild. I love him.
Arthur Kwali, I found him before he kind of got really big in the JQ space, and he was kind of hey, I'm this artist, and they canceled me, and that's when I first time I on. So one of the first guests I ever had, and all of a sudden,
great speaker, man.
He's so smart,
so good,
and he's this artist. So he has these ideas that are out there, and he somehow just started going down this road and talking about all these, spitting these facts, well, all these things holy shit, are you allowed to say that? And then they canceled him. I'm like, oh, no, you can't.
Yeah, you can't say it. Yeah,
you can't say
that. His art's really good and unique, too. I don't know much about art, but I really love his stuff. I think it's beautiful.
I think so, too. I think it's, really cool stuff. I wish, I could afford it.
No, exactly. Exactly. It's out of my price point, I know some of a few of my really rich friends have been asking about it, though. So that's what it's great art. That's what I told Arthur. You make amazing art, but it's also an artist. It's about being a personality.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I believe in his message. I think he's an honest, genuine person. That's the most important thing to me. And I don't know, I just really like him. So Arthur, thank you, man. Thank you for putting us together. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly, awesome dude. And you Koreans stick together. He also brought on one of the Rooftop Koreans.
I saw that.
Tony Moon.
yeah, Tony. What'd you think about that? Having Tony on?
It was awesome. Arthur hits me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to have a Rooftop Korean on?" I'm like, "That's unusual. Yeah, let's do it." I'm like, "Will you come on with me?" Because I didn't know the guy spoke perfect English. For some reason, I thought he was Korean. And he was I don't know if he was born here or just perfect English. I'm like,
no, he's totally American.
But it was still good. I thought he was gonna be accent. I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassed, but it was still good having Arthur.
Yeah, Tony's awesome. I like him too, and he's a G, man. He's been through it. He understands. He gets it. And if you guys haven't seen that, definitely go watch it.
Yeah,
the
interview
on your show.
These guys, during LA riots, dozens of people were murdered, and they stood up. They were trying to burn Koreatown. The cops were told to stand down. This is way before George Floyd, and they went up there. The Koreans went on rooftops with rifles, and they defended their Koreatown. I think he was younger, so he was the younger group that was roaming around, but they defended Koreatown as the rest of LA was burning. And it's unfortunate, but it shows sometimes you have to stick together and defend your stuff. Like I said, it looks like you Koreans stick together.
Yeah, the Rooftop Korean has become kind of this meme now, on the internet. And anytime something happens, oh, you got to call the Rooftop Koreans. Mm-hmm. And really all that means is you can't wait for the government or anyone to come save you. Because that's the reality. They're not going to save you.
Yes.
You're on your own. And the only way to protect yourself is you can't do it by yourself. You have to stick with your community, the people around you. And then we kind of talked about this dinner yesterday. You're like, man, how come there can't be a white-only neighborhood? Yeah. I was like, why not?
Exactly.
What's wrong with that? There's Korean-only neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. There's black-only clubs. And if white people want to get together, I'm like, oh, dude, we want a white neighborhood. Like, dude, I don't want to live in your white-only neighborhood anyway. Whatever, do whatever you want.
Exactly. I'm not a white nationalist, but then I platform some of these guys, and the ones I've talked to, at least, and I'm sure some hateful ones, the ones I've talked to have been very reasonable. They have their ideas. They want to live around white people.
Yeah.
I think they have every right to do that. And then I get attacked from both sides. I get attacked from people being like, oh, why are you platforming these white supremacists? And then I get white supremacist attacking and being like, oh, you're not a real white supremacist. And yeah, I said that, but I'm the only guy giving these guys a fair chance to go and explain themselves, or one of the only guys.
Yeah. I get a message all the time, Matt, you can be a honorary Aryan. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be.
Yeah, why would you? Fuck? Yeah, you should be proud to be an Asian.
I'm totally good with being Asian, by the way. And I just think that you're allowed to support and be who you want to be, and I think it's weird because on the extreme left, they're like, no, you got individuality, and I'm a guy, but I want to be a girl. I want a girl. I want to be a guy. It's like, all right, if you can do that, then you got to let people do this. You can't just choose and say, I want to do this because this is what I want to do. Like, if you want to do it, let everyone do it.
Yeah, so you can be, and they're encouraged, be pro-black, which you should be. You should be pro-Korean, but I'm pro-white and I should be. And people try to say that's hateful being pro-white. That's out of your mind. Everyone should be pro their race. Doesn't mean I'm anti the other race, but you should be pro your own race. And one thing I've noticed a lot is I have lots of, grow up in San Francisco, lots of minority friends. They do help each other out a little more. White people don't. Like the Chinese, they get the Chinese discounts. They literally see them asking for the Chinese discount and getting it. The Afghans helping each other. So I would see this and be like, white people don't do any of that.
Yeah, I think it's a little sad, and it's this idea of white guilt that we see a lot. Like you got to be apologetic because you're white. I'm like, dude, like why?
Exactly.
I don't want white people to feel guilty for being white. I don't want black people for being guilty for being black. I just want people to be comfortable with who they are. And I think it's okay. Like, I'm okay with people being a little racist, actually.
Yeah.
Like, don't be hateful. Like, don't be a dick. Like, be a good person. But, like, subsects of people are naturally different.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with acknowledging that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I've never met an intelligent man that's not slightly racist. I have to say. of any race, because you notice patterns, you notice differences, and you should. Doesn't mean you hate these races. Doesn't mean you judge people individually from that race. Like I'm very critical of Israel. People think I hate Jews. I have a couple good Jewish friends.
We have a Jewish producer here.
Right, exactly. One of the guys, or the guy in the studio, not my main producer. He's always like, everyone thinks I'm Jewish. It's like,
not the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, right. So he gets upset. But exactly, you should. There are real things to races, but you also got to learn to view everyone individually.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with people being nationalistic. I think Americans should be proud to be American. I think Koreans should be proud to be Korean. I think the Chinese should be proud to be Chinese. And I have no problem that the Israelites or the Jews are proud to be Israeli. Like
the black ones or the white ones?
That's great.
I love the black Israelis. I gotta get one of those black Israelis on there. They're so crazy, but I love them.
Dude, I was about to interview. I haven't interviewed him yet, but there's a couple like real Semite Jews that I've been trying to get on, and they're like, wait a second, we actually don't like the Zionist stuff. Like I was born in Israel, I was raised in Israel, I'm from Israel, and I am not on board with
what they're doing.
Bibi and Netanyahu and what he's doing. I am not okay with this, and they keep on saying they're Jewish, but I'm Jewish, but they're racist towards me growing up. And he was like, look, when I was growing up, like they considered you outside of the main Israel society if you were not a Zionist.
Or the Ashkenazi.
Ashkenazi,
they're kind of the ones that seem to think they're superior.
Yeah. He's like they're so racist against us because I'm a brown Jew. But like I've been Jewish and in Israel and my family's been here for centuries.
Yeah,
you guys just got here and you're telling me how to live.
Most of them came from Poland and Ukraine.
Yeah, and if you say that, you're an anti-Semite. Like, why?
Well,
this is what people there are saying.
Well, it's like, if I criticize Israel, they hate Jews. But if I criticize China or North Korea, you're not going to go, why do you hate Koreans? So if I start criticizing Korea, but like Jews start criticizing Israel, why do you hate Jews? It's just such like a whiny baby attitude that people are just sick of it.
Yeah, people say like, oh, during TikTok ban, like, oh, the Chinese are stealing all of our data. And it's like, well, we don't mean every single Chinese person in the world, all billion of them are stealing your data. Yeah. You're talking about the Chinese culture or the Chinese like leadership in general.
Exactly.
But you're not saying that every Chinese person is stealing your data. And when Trump said, oh, the Mexicans are rapists and criminals and they're coming over, you don't mean every single Mexican.
Yeah. More white people bitch about that than Mexican people. It's funny because the Mexicans, it was all the white liberals being like, I can't believe he called Mexican rapists. A lot of Mexicans are like, whatever.
Yeah, like,
we kind of
are.
Yeah, we are. We cause a lot of trouble. Let's build that. So many Mexicans now are like they don't want more immigration. They don't want America turning into Mexico.
Did you see the rioting going on in Mexico right now, in Mexico City?
No, what's happening?
The Mexicans are mad that so many American tourists are coming to Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, dude, go back to America. Why
build the wall.
Build the wall. Stay over there.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, because they're coming down. They're raising the price of things.
Because a lot of them are living there. It's like
they're moving there.
Tons of them are moving there because it's way cheaper.
Exactly. And they're like, dude, you're raising our cost of living. You're bringing your kind of ideas and values, and we want to be Mexican. Like, why are you guys all coming in here? And it's like, wait a second. I thought we were trying to keep them out, but they're also trying to keep us out. It goes
both ways, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no one's like, oh, they're so racist, Like, why is it only racist one way? Everyone actually does it.
No, it's weird. And the funny thing is, the white liberals are the worst obnoxious people, and so many minorities I talk to, they agree. They hate like the self-hating, whiny like white people. It's like they prefer someone that's like honest and can admit they're a little bit racist. And like I said, every race is a little bit fucking racist. I think white people are the least racist to the point where they start becoming racist against ourselves, and that's just embarrassing.
In Korea, they call white people pigin. Pigin means white person. So you literally call white people in Korea, but no one's like, oh, that's so racist. But here, if you're like, yellow person, it's like, that's racist. Like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, people
We literally say that.
People are just way too
all
fucking
the time.
sensitive.
You know?
I think that's cool about like fighting gyms. Like we all mix together all these races and we can like talk shit to each other, but everyone's equal on the mats. But you can like say the most absurd racist shit, but you don't really mean it, or maybe you like half mean it and you get away with it. So I think it brings men closer together when we like talk shit to each other. If you're like tiptoeing around like, oh, I don't want to insult his culture, and like I have friends like his one girlfriend came over. I think she's like, I forget what kind of Asian she is, but the guy's always, parents always showing him like the wrong, oh, look at this, it's like Chinese things. I think she's like Japanese. It's just like, oh God, just trying so hard.
Yeah, I think people like try to be accepting and understanding. Actually, I think people naturally do want to get along. And sometimes you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You know, I remember I had these, like I live in Georgia, and I took these two like super hillbilly, like super Georgian guys to a Korean barbecue place. And they're like, I don't know if we can eat this. You know what I mean? And we're eating like some like doenjang. It like stinks and it looks funny. What is this? Like, it's like fermented bean. And they're like, dude, no way. You know? And we go through the meal and all of a sudden like, can we take the menu home? Because I want to tell my wife what we ate and I want to make sure I eat the same thing. Because you don't know what you don't know. But once you've experienced it and once you're open your mind to the fact that like things are different and you're able to kind of have an interaction, then like it becomes a part of you and it's okay.
Yeah, I've traveled the world, immersed myself with these different cultures, and I've been treated well everywhere I've gone. I think because I come with the right attitude, I try to learn the customs, not to disrespect people. So you can cross. But there are places where race gets tricky, which I'm kind of unsure of. I think when people come to America, they need to assimilate and become Americans and love America. I think if you start bringing too many people all at once from the area, that's when you get people not becoming American, staying in their own cliques. I don't think you should necessarily lose your entire culture when you come here, but you have to, like, in my opinion, you have to put kind of America first and kind of adapt more to the American culture. What's your opinions on that?
Fighting's changed. The spirit hasn't. It's still about discipline, pressure, showing up when it matters, not for likes, not for hype, just for the ones who live this life. Day in, day out, Fight Back gear's made for you. fightbackpodcast.com.
Methylene blue has been used for over 100 years for medical purposes and recently surged back into popularity. It has been shown to help repair brain tissue and improve memory, cognitive function, energy, and mood. Research suggests that methylene blue could have neuroprotective effects, possibly aiding in conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and depression. Go to MerakiMedicinal.com and use the promo code FIGHTBACK for a discount.
I think people that come here because they want to assimilate into American society and culture. I think it's a balance between not forgetting where you came from, but at the same time respecting where you are. And I think that's how our family was. You know, like we're obviously like very American. We vote. Everyone's an American citizen. Everyone tries to do the same. Everyone tries to do it the right way. At the same time, we still adhere to a lot of Korean cultures. And traditions that we had kind of for hundreds or thousands of years. So we try to do a mix of the both. But at the same time, I'm not going to try to convince someone to like adhere to what I believe, you know, or I'm not coming here to try to change anybody.
Yeah, you're not trying to change America into Korea. You're just keeping some of your own traditions that your family has had for hundreds, or thousands of years.
And I think that's like, and maybe that's the knock on Americans throughout the world, is that when Americans show up to a different country, they're like, well, you have to believe what we believe. And you have to kind of adhere to these trans rights things.
Gay rights, trans
and the world, they're like, wait, we don't want to. But the Americans show up like, no, you have to. Like, well, why?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. It's this idea of going to other countries and changing the way that they are and what they believe. But I think you just let people be who they are. And if the values are that in America we believe in freedom, we believe in individual rights, we believe in the right for people to protect themselves, then that should be the core. Why are we putting like cultural fringe ideas on the population?
I strongly agree. I think we go into the other countries and we try to put our morals on there, like Afghanistan. They're not America. Who are we to tell them what their rights are? I remember before the Taliban marched in, I think maybe a couple weeks or a month before, they were painting George Floyd murals on the wall. There's not black people in Afghanistan. Like, why are they bringing this nonsense there? And then you wonder why people applaud as Taliban marches in. It's just like, and I'm not making an argument the Taliban's all good. They have things that are bad about them, but I have a bunch of Afghan friends, and a lot of them prefer the Taliban over the options. They said there's all these different warlords. They bring order. No, there's bad parts about them, but if you look at the options, the culture and the people should get to decide what they want, not America. We shouldn't come in and be like, you can't have these people ruling over you.
I've heard that a lot about the cartels in Mexico, is that some people actually like living in cartel-run areas because the idea is that, the cartels are bad and they're all drug dealers and they're just killing people and etc. But what they say is in certain parts of Mexico, like the federal infrastructure is just not there. And the cartels keep balance and they keep order. And as long as you're not doing anything wrong and you're not going against them and you just understand that they're the ones that are the order keepers, like society actually runs smoothly and there's less crime and people aren't robbing each other because if you get in trouble, then the cartel is going to come after you. And they don't actually mind it.
Yeah, I think there's huge differences in different areas in cartels. I think some of these cartels are rotten and evil. I think other ones, I'm not going to endorse them, but there's been places I've been, you meet some of the lower guys, people seem to respect them, like them a little better. Obviously, anytime I'm in Mexico around cartels, I'm very careful. But I've seen guys, you're reading up and you're like, oh, in this town, supposedly these people keep the order. People don't steal bikes. They don't, these guys don't go and fuck people for no reason. But there's other areas where they'll kidnap you and sell you back for no reason, stuff like that. So it's like, I think there's a huge difference with the witch cartel. But again, it's not something I'm an expert on.
Yeah, me neither. I just know that I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, I was in a town when I accidentally ended up around some of them, and I was like, oh shit. And I started looking it up, and I was reading how this town has some of the best like cartels that look out people. I'm like, okay, I feel a little better.
Yeah, I think it's, I travel the world a lot. I go to a lot of different countries. And when you travel, like you have these preconceived notions of what you're told about this country. For example, if you go to China or you go to Vietnam or you go to Mexico or wherever, Colombia, and you're only told the negative about all of it. And you go there and you're like, huh, their system kind of works in a weird way.
Yep.
All people aren't bad. Like, oh, the Venezuelans are horrible. And then I meet some Venezuelans. I'm like, oh, but that guy was like legit. The only place I'm like worried to go actually in the world is like Israel.
I don't think I'd go there right now. I've been to Israel before.
Yeah.
And they treated me great when I was there. It was IDF. I was doing stuff with them. They just wouldn't allow me. I had friends in the West Bank at the time. They wouldn't allow me to go down there. I
Really?
should have just split off and gone by myself. And that was kind of what made me first start going down the rabbit hole, that they were just so adamant that I couldn't see the West Bank.
Wait, how did they stop you though?
I guess they couldn't have physically stopped me. They were just kind of my drivers and stuff, and they kept saying no. I could have maybe just gone up by myself, but they were like kind of transporting me around.
Yeah.
And they were just so adamant that I don't go there. Oh, terrorists are gonna kill me. But I had a friend there going like, bro, I have family here. Just come, please see it. And I really wish I would have like split off by myself and just said, they couldn't have physically stopped me from going, but they were just very adamant that I couldn't go down there. I don't know the process of getting through the checkpoints, because I know you can't just go into Gaza, but I think the West Bank you can. It's just a little bit difficult. Yeah.
I remember right after October 7th, some lady that follows me on Instagram messaged me, and she's like, man, like it's really unfortunate because like our kid's babysitter who comes every day is from like Gaza, and they come over to work and they raise our kids, and she's been here every single day for the last however many years, and all of a sudden like we haven't seen her, and it sucks because she's like she's Jewish and she's Israeli, and she's like, I really like her. She like raised my kids.
Yeah, but then she probably sees what's happening in Gaza and just can't do it. If I was Palestinian, I don't think I could work with a Jewish person just seeing the slaughters going on.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why she stopped showing up. I don't know if she couldn't show up. I don't know if they blocked her. She doesn't know. She just completely disappeared. I'm like, damn, that sucks.
No, it's hard, to be. But I do know a few Jews and Palestinians that are still friends. But it's got to be tough with what's going on. It is the most brutal thing we've ever witnessed, and it's happening like live on Telegram. It's like we've never seen anything like it.
It's
like,
crazy.
I had to quit going to Telegram channels because it was just bothering me too much.
It's too much out there, and the fact that they don't allow, because the Israeli are like, oh, this is not happening.
kill all the journalists.
Okay, then why don't you let independent journalists go in and just report like what's going on? If there's nothing going on, why don't you let people in?
Yep,
And like, no, we can't. I'm like, well, then how can you confirm that?
My
No, you
knowledge-
just gotta believe us.
Yeah, I think this is the only war to ever not allow journalists in.
It's crazy. And it takes up so much of our mental real estate. We think about it all the time. We see it in the news. And if you comment on it, they're like, oh, you're an anti-Semite. Like, no, like, I just like humanity. And I don't want people to die. And I don't want people to kill each other. And the only footage that I have access to is like kids and babies like
Just
getting
nonstop,
blown up.
arms blown off.
And I'm
just-
like, this is a real video. No one says it's not a real video. Then can we address this? And like, no. They're like terrorists. I'm like, really? The 4-year-old was a terrorist? Like,
'cause
there's
you have,
nothing.
You have kids, right? Or
Yeah.
not, but it's like, yeah, as a father, it's like, I have kids, it just eats me up. And you see some of these comments on their Telegram channels, a little girl with her arms blown off, and like, haha, now she can't hug her terrorist father, and has like thousands of likes.
crazy.
I'm just like, it's easy to get turned hateful when you see that stuff. That's why I had to back off and be like, all right, take a step back and realize that it's way too many, but not all of them. But it's just sick and evil what's going on.
Yeah, I just, it's something, there's this rule that even amongst the worst people in the world, there's an understanding. You don't mess with the women and children.
Exactly.
That's just like a gentleman's agreement that even in war, even amongst people that absolutely hate each other, women and children are off limits. Everyone in the world universally knows that without even having to tell anyone. Women and children are off limits. And this war includes women and children. And if you point that out, they're like, you're a bad person.
You're
Like,
an
wait a
anti-Semite.
second. That
Well,
doesn't make any sense at all.
I know I'm capable of going to war to kill men, but I don't think I'm capable of going to war and killing
No.
children. I just don't think I'm capable of doing that. It's just like, how do you do that?
And how do you do that? And how do you allow it? How do you cover it up? And how do you know it and not say something about it? Like, what is so fundamentally wrong with your mental aptitude that you allow it or you can see it and not react? It's like, you have to be dead
And not
inside.
speak up, man. It's so disappointing to people that haven't spoken up. Like finally some people are, but I have, personal friends that are huge names. They're starting to speak up a little bit, but it's like, it's just a little late to the point where it's hard not to be disappointed. I'm not going to say any names, but like some of these big podcasters that have been friends of mine for years are saying a little bit, but it's just like, man, you're a disappointment. It's just like,
Yeah, I mean-
that's all you can do when you have like the biggest or second biggest podcast in the world.
The women and children are like really the hard part of all of it, Like the men fighting and the men killing each other, it's war.
I don't like it, but it's, yeah, but you
It's
can-
war. I get it, But when you involve the kids, it's like, that's another level, And again, the worst people in the world understand that you don't do that,
No, kids are just innocent, and it's just when you're taking and killing a kid, it's just pure evil, and they seem to just delight in it and like, and not care at all. And that just, that's really bothered me, especially when we're the ones fucking paying for it.
Yeah, I mean, when does the paying for it stop?
It's going to be a long time, it seems. The people are turning against it, but our politicians just seem so over the top. You have Trump telling Netanyahu he's the best person in the world.
Dude, how crazy was that clip yesterday? He's like, you have the best person in the world here. I was like, what?
He's a wanted war criminal.
What are we talking about?
All the international courts like convict him of war crimes or for a arrest warrant, and instead of going to arrest him, we go after the international courts that have arrest warrant for him. It's just pure insanity. It's like, and then they had the Epstein files on his desk. There's no Epstein files.
Nothing to see here.
And people are just, they love Trump so much that they just pretend like it's not happening. It's like it's a cult.
And I campaigned for Trump. I voted for Trump, and I feel like, and people are like, oh, Matt, you turned on Trump. I was like, no,
He turned
like,
on you.
yeah, there were promises that were made, and holding your leaders accountable for those promises doesn't make me the bad guy.
No.
He's the one that made the promise. I just wanted to fulfill what he said. Like Ukraine was supposed to stop in 24 hours.
Yeah.
What happened? No one cares.
And wasn't it today or yesterday sending him more weapons?
We're going to send them more weapons, and we're still funding them, and we're still giving them money, and nothing actually changed with
No
that.
mass deportations. No
mass
He
deportation.
hasn't kept any of his promises. People get mad at me for criticizing him. He's the one that's failed us. I actually turned on Trump back when he locked the country down. Everyone's like, he didn't lock the country down, but it's like he did. He went along with it. Now, I think the Democrats were worse. Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
But he did push. You remember he was yelling at, I think it was the Georgia governor opened it up. He's like, lock it down. And he was yelling at Sweden, who ended up having less deaths than America, being like, you idiots, you need to follow the lockdown. So he heavily pushed the lockdowns. He heavily pushed the vaccine. He was behind Project Warp Speed. Again, I still liked him better than Alternative, but that's when I stopped becoming a Trump supporter. And I've lost tens of thousands of followers for not supporting him. it's like people get so mad when I criticize him, but I just speak what's true. And I'll also compliment him where I think he's good. But
Yeah, I mean, day one he said, there's only two genders. I was like, good. Like that's so crazy that that's something to celebrate. But the fact that the American president said it out loud, it's like, okay, cool, thanks. At least he did that. And then he was like, all right, but we're gonna do AI generated mRNA vaccines. Like what? What the fuck? Where did that come from?
no, right out of nowhere. When that's another guy, Kennedy, he's all switching up his stuff.
Yeah.
He's again, his over the top Israel thing just makes no sense. Didn't the Epstein's? Isn't there a missing minute from the tape they released?
Yeah, I just
Is
saw that
accurate?
too.
I'm pretty sure that's accurate, right? I've seen that multiple places.
Yeah.
Listed now.
There's just 1
They
minute
just
missing.
released it with a missing minute. Like,
Nothing to see here.
yeah, that's how crazy is that? That they're gonna even they should just not release a tape. Instead, they're gonna cut a minute out and be like, "Here's the tape." What the fuck did you cut out in that minute?
And the saddest truth about all of this is that given enough time, and they're gonna flood our eyes, and we're gonna see so much content around people complaining that we're gonna get sick of complaining, and then nothing's gonna happen. There's gonna be zero accountability, and we're all gonna just move on with our lives. I mean, exactly what we did with COVID. COVID changed the way we live our lives, and a lot of people died, not from the disease, but from the vaccines. And no one got in trouble.
No one's held
There's
accountable.
zero accountability, and people just like look over it and like, oh, whatever. Like it happened, fine. Like no, like it happened. It really happened, and they weaponized the virus and they used it against us, and they shut down the country and they messed up with our kids and messed up with our kids'
Crashed
minds.
their economy. I have so many friends that lost businesses in the middle class because of that, and the big businesses did better.
Yeah, and
they ruined
the
life,
rich just got richer, and the poor got poorer, and the middle class went away, and that happened, and no one apologized. And at least, at minimum, if one of these politicians or these leaders who are responsible were like, "Look, we really messed that up. We're sorry." At least maybe people, Americans, would get some sort of closure that okay, they messed it up. They're sorry. Does it make it better? No, but at least to take responsibility as men. You expect men to take responsibility for things they
Accountability when you
fucked up.
fuck up.
Yeah, that little bit would actually help. At least with the mental like models of people that people have, but they don't even want to do that. They're like, "Oh no, you're crazy because you're questioning it. I can't believe you're still thinking about that." It's like, no, that changed the way we live our lives.
Yeah, no. Anytime someone wrongs me in my personal life, if they'll give me a legitimate apology, I'll almost always forgive them, unless it was just something so outrageous. But if someone like wrongs me and doesn't sit and call me and apologize like a man, like how am I gonna forgive them? And the same thing with these politicians. Sometimes you have to just own up. Like, I don't wrong my friends very often, but the few times I do, if it's wrong, I give them a call, I apologize, I own up to my fuck up, and then generally you're able to be friends again. But when
Yeah,
you
just
don't
own it.
up to your fuck up. It's like sometimes you just have to give a call, or in their case, public speech, and be like, man, I really fucked up.
Yeah, if you're a man, be a man.
I made a terrible choice. This is hard. It's hard. It's hard to admit you're wrong.
Of
For
course.
me it is. But sometimes I realize I have to do it when I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. No one wants to be wrong. No one wants to say I was wrong. Like that sucks. But like we know, the fall of all great men is their pride. And sometimes you just have to own that you fucked up, and you're like, look, it happened, and I'm sorry, but like this is what we're gonna do to make it better. And I feel like America as a country actually needs that
I agree.
because
But it
it's been
It needs
years.
to be a genuine apology too, because if it's
I
a
mean-
fake apology, it's hard to forgive someone. If someone genuinely apologizes, then it makes a big difference.
I feel like we're in a place where they take so little accountability that even if
even
they
a fake
pretended,
apology would
even
be-
a
yeah,
fake
be
apology,
better,
you'd be
yeah.
like, all right, at least they pretended to care. Because right now, where we are in this country is like, it's insulting. They're just like, we didn't do anything wrong, and you're crazy for thinking so. It's like, wait a
Right.
second.
They'll say, no, Trump didn't lock the country down. Again, the Democrats are worse than that end.
Yeah.
But they'll just rewrite history. Like, that never happened. Like, what vaccines? We didn't force you to take these vaccines. I was in San Francisco. I couldn't go in bars, couldn't go in restaurants because I wouldn't get vaccinated. Like, I wasn't able to eat with my friends. It's like, fuck you. I watched friends get addicted to drugs. I watched a friend commit suicide. I watched friends lose their businesses. So I watched the real life results of this. And they're trying to pretend they didn't happen. And then January 6th, not really put in prison for this, for
Yeah.
walking into a fucking building.
Yeah.
That wasn't any of my personal friends there, but they ruined people's lives. I saw them taking people away from their daughter crying as the dad's going in prison for several years. Can you imagine being taken away from your fucking kids because you walked into a building? It was just disgusting and no accountability. These FBI agents are getting promoted. They're not being fired. They're not being prosecuted. No one's being held accountable.
I interviewed this one lady, and she's just like a mom. She's got 2 kids. She homeschools them. She's in Georgia. And she took her kids and went to the Capitol on January 6th. because she thought it would be like a big celebration and a party, and she just wanted to be there, like most people that were there. And she put on her Facebook, "We stormed the Capitol."
Oh, Jesus.
But she didn't know because she was on the other side.
Yeah, it just sounded like exciting at the time.
It's just exciting. And, because there are so many people, like the cell phone signal wasn't going, so her post didn't actually go up immediately. She's going home and everything's died down, and she's like, I don't know what happened. That shit was crazy. And then the post goes up like a few hours later. Damn. And her friends call her, and she's like, what the hell did you just post? Why would you put that up?
Take that down.
Take that down. But it was too late. And the FBI started showing up at her house, blocking her at her tennis lessons. She's just some mom.
They tweeted or put on Facebook. Doesn't even have Twitter. Doesn't even know about Twitter. That's how boomer she is. We stormed the Capitol building.
Yeah, it's like some like middle-aged mom with 2 kids that was at that day, and you're gonna go after her for being a domestic terrorist. She's like a mom. You know what I mean?
No, they're taking these people, and they did take people away from their kids. And I can relate to this one because I was actually flying home from Morocco and had a layover in D.C. I think it was the night before. I almost got off and stayed. Thank God I was tired and went home. I could have seen my dumb ass walking in the Capitol with the lectern guy, the guy with that famous Adam. I just met him, like smiling, holding the thing. I could have seen. They were just like He said they let him walk in. They were joking around. He walked around with the lectern. He ended up doing a few months, but he had money. He was able to hire a good lawyer. They're trying to get him to plead to I could be wrong with the numbers, but several years, like 5 years or something. They're trying to get him to plead to, and he has children. Yeah, that he's like close to, and trains jiu-jitsu. He has good job, and they were trying to get him to take years in prison for walking through and picking up that lectern thing, like smiling. I think the picture makes such a mockery of him because it shows that it was an insurrection. Him and the shaman guy. Yeah, they hate those guys so much because it shows that. And there's like the grandma. It shows this wasn't insurrection. These were just like a bunch of guys goofing off, having a good time.
Have you had Jake on the show, the shaman?
I haven't, but I've talked to him a little bit by DMs. He was out here, did the Hodge Twins. I almost had him on. Have you done the Hodge Twins?
I've done their show.
Okay, because I talked to them quite a bit. They're out here in Vegas too. Good dudes.
Yeah, Jake was interesting. I had him. I streamed with him once, and he was on the show, and he's like much smarter than people give him credit for. I think he has really interesting ideas.
Maybe I'll try to get him on again because I was DMing with him, but it didn't quite work when he was out here for Hodge Twins.
Yeah, he's smart. He's smart. He's like well read. He understands what he's saying, and I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he's like this crazy extremist. I just think he's like cares. I think that's how most people are. They just like. There's the idea that people are black-pilled, right? Yeah. But I think black-pilling implies that you think that this dystopian future is coming and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. But I don't think that's where most people are. I think most people think this dystopian future
some are
is.
black-pilled, but I'm certainly not. I think I wouldn't have a podcast if I thought we didn't have a chance. The reason I'm speaking up, and I'm sure you too, is because we do want to make change.
Yeah, something is wrong with the world. Something is wrong with society. Something is wrong with the United States right now, as it is. But change is possible. I think that's why we exist online. Yeah, because we're hoping to enact some sort of change.
Yeah, we both kind of came out organic, no funding. I had no idea what I was doing. I don't really know how you go. Yeah, well, I got you started a podcast because I didn't really know who you were until recently, and I started seeing your clips all over the place.
Yeah, I just started talking to the internet one day because I was just frustrated, like a lot of people. Yeah, same with me. People just started listening, and I think that's the best way to do it. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, just like be who you are and give your ideas out into the world and
be authentic. There's not a lot of authentic people right now.
I believe that values and scarcity and being authentic is scarce online. So if you are yourself, then people will eventually find you. Maybe it's a slow burn because you're not chasing viral clips all the time, but I think long run, you like build a more reliable audience. People actually care what you're saying. People trust you. And long tail, I think that's the better way to do it. That's what I believe.
Yeah, that is one thing people have tried to talk me into, like, try to like plan viral clips. It's just not my personality.
It's like, not that guy.
When they're trying to talk new clips, it's just not who I am. You know, it's just it would be so fake and not look good. Instead I'm going with the slow, steady growth, which is actually been pretty big. I've been around a little less than a year, and
you're crushing
growth,
it.
Yeah, good growth on the podcast. Put it all over the place. So overall, I always want to be bigger. Of course, I'm never satisfied. It's my personality type. I want to grow bigger, but I think for under a year, I'm at a good spot. By I'm just trying to be honest for my viewers can trust me. I might not always be right. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm always willing to learn, admit I'm wrong, and just try to be honest. Same thing with sponsors. I'll try not to like sell shit I don't believe in. Well, actually, I'm gonna talk about a company that you might sponsor me with in a few. But it's like I won't like take sponsorships if I think a company's shit, because you don't want to like sell your audience like be a snake oil salesman.
Yeah, it's not easy, you know. Like when I started the podcast and these sponsors want to come on, like, oh, well, can you do this? But can you not talk about this? Can you, especially the Israel thing? They're like, can you not do that one? I'm like, look, if you're gonna tell me what to do, then you obviously don't watch the show. You don't understand who I am, and we're just not aligned. You know, like either if you sponsor, like I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want to do, and if that's not okay, then we have a problem here, and this is not gonna work. And reality is I've never taken sponsors, you know, it's not easy.
No, yeah,
because the ones that pay well want to tell you what to do.
Yeah, how do you pay for your podcast?
It's just
the YouTube stuff, obviously.
Yeah, the YouTube pays a little bit, but they don't pay a lot, you know, especially because the type of content that I do, like I get demonetized all the time.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's why I started a fight back podcast. It's like the merch stuff I sell. You should do merch. Again, it's not a ton of money.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like if I'm breaking even, I don't really care. I would like to make a little money, but thankfully I have money coming in from other angles. In the beginning, you know, I was losing much money in the podcast. So I go, shit, at least got to get like a breaking even point. And ideally, it'd be nice to make a lot of money, but that's not my purpose. I had a guy come in and offer a big chunk of money to buy in, but he wanted some ability to choose some of my guests. And I'm sure you can guess his ethnicity and what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
he offered
of course.
He offered a pretty large chunk of money, but I think he thought I was a lot more broke than I was. I told him to go fuck himself, like in front of his like yes man. He was like in shock. He did call me again, trying to like renegotiate. But I was just like, I was offended that he thought he'd come in and buy my fucking rights to say what I'm going to say. I was just so offended.
Yeah, like and it's good. It changes the show. You know, people watch you because they like you and they like your authenticity and they like that you're going to ask whatever you want. You're going to say whatever you want. And once you become controlled, then like people are just going to care less. And actually, you're going to end up selling less too. You know, if people believe you and then you say, hey, I like this product, then they're going to check out the product because they trust you. But once you break that trust with the internet, it's really hard to build it back.
No, that's why I'm really careful what sponsors I take. You can offer money, but it's like, if I don't believe in that, it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
So. Let's talk real quick about the company. I'm not sure if I am working or not, but you recently launched a company, which is very important. I don't understand a lot about it, so I'll let you take over, explain a little bit. The VPNs?
Yeah, so we launched a company called VP.net. I'm fortunate to work with some of the most privacy-minded people in the world, and the reality is that privacy is freedom. I sent you kind of the Cypherpunk manifesto. I don't know if you checked it out yet.
I read that.
But the one line in that it says is, privacy is your right to selectively reveal yourself to the world. What that means is that your information and who you are is yours.
I strongly agree.
And you should be the one that chooses and decides what you share with the rest of society and rest of the world. And we're in this upside down world where these big tech companies take all your information and they decide for you what you can keep. And that's actually upside down. You know, privacy is really important. That's how like change happens. We have to be able to have the conversation of that's between us. And they're trying to take that away from you. And so we started this company, it's VP.net. And what it is, it's the most private VPN in the world. And, you know, most VPNs operate on this premise of trust. So you are trusting that this company and the biggest VPN in the world and the biggest VPN company in the world is owned by this Israeli billionaire who works with the IDF, who sponsors the IDF, who works with former Mossad as their CEO and CFO and all of this.
What's the name of the company again? It's Cape.
Cape.
And they sponsor like Joe Rogan,
everybody,
100K episode, I think, like all these big podcasts. It's an Israeli company, the VPN. So they're getting all of our traffic right to Israel.
Yeah, you're giving them all your information and they say, look, we don't log, we don't save your data. And it's like, okay, number one, you have to trust that they're not. And number two, that if they can see it, will they never lose or compromise it? Or what if an agency, any agency in the world, says, well, we want to take the data, then they have to say yes.
Yeah, you get subpoenaed.
Exactly. And
but are you really fucking trusting the Israeli government anyways? Of course not.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I certainly don't.
You know, so we developed a new systems architecture where it is impossible for us as a VPN provider to see your activity. If we can't see your activity, then we can't compromise your activity.
I have a tough question.
Yeah.
How do we know that you can't see it? Is there any way to like, don't mean to ask you a tough question.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
but,
yeah,
but
of
I know
course.
people are going to ask me this if I'm pushing your product. Like, how do the people know that you guys can't access it? Is there a way to check, or is there a way to, like...
So you can verify when you log in a client. The client, number one, does not log into a compromised server. It's just the way it is. So if we were ever building a backdoor and someone were to force us to build in a backdoor, you actually can't connect. We are also taking the code that's within the secure enclave. It's called, we use Intel, so Intel SGX Enclave, and that's open source so that you can check and confirm that the code that we're promising to run is the code that's running on the client.
I don't understand the tech in that much, but I know people are going to be asking. And that's why I was wondering if there's some kind of safe way where you could try to show people, like, I trust you, but it's like people are going to be asking me, well, how do I know this?
Of course.
So if I'm pushing something, I need to know at least there's some way for people to check. Or
I mean, that's what VP.net stands for. VP stands for Verified Privacy. So you can verify at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that your privacy is secure always. Some other VPN companies will say, look, we do an audit. Great. You hired a company to do an audit to prove that you're not saving information. But that audit is for like 1 month of time. What were you doing 1 month before? Or were you doing 1 month after the audit? And that's auditing the company. But what are the data centers that have your information? What are they doing? Because if you're a Israeli company that says we're a privacy company, but you're in Israel, how do you know that the data center that you're using in the United States is not giving up your information? You don't know that, actually. So that's why we created the system that we did, is so that we physically cannot see your information, we cannot lose your information, we cannot compromise your information, and you can verify that we are doing exactly what we're doing. And I think that's how privacy needs to be. Like, you can't trust technology companies any longer.
No, this is something I actually don't talk about enough. I think it's important, the whole privacy end, because it's like they're basically everything. They're able to get access to everything. We need to start having ways to hide our privacy. I agree. It's like I'm not sure how good like Telegram and Signal and stuff are, but I use those instead of text messages. I don't know if they have back doors, but it's like people don't need to see my conversations. I don't like the idea that know, people can hack and see things and get access. And even our government, remember the Twitter files showed they were getting access to like DMs on Twitter, and like, we deserve privacy.
Yeah, our technology is not just the VPN. Our first implementation of the technology is the VPN. Actually, our technology is a network anonymization and through a hardware secure enclave. What that means is we are anonymizing connections from endpoint to endpoint. So, for example, the next implementation of it would be for a messenger. So if we are using Signal and we're talking to Signal, maybe it's end-to-end encrypted. So, a bad actor cannot know the discussion we had.
Yeah.
What they do know is that we talked. They know that we talked today. They know we talked yesterday.
We talked. They just can't get the actual conversation.
Exactly.
They can still see we're talking. I don't even want to know who the fuck I'm talking to.
That's enough actually in the United States to get people for conspiracy, right? That we've talked.
Yeah.
But that also should be anonymous. So not only is the contents of our conversation anonymous, but our technology can make it so that the fact that you and I talk is also anonymous.
Yeah, that should be anonymous too.
Because actually, people don't want to know the contents of the conversation. They just want to know that you and I were talking. That's enough.
They can see who's talking, connecting people.
Yeah.
Maybe you're involved in some other illegal group getting arrested. Boom, they connect me to it. Conspiracy.
Exactly.
That's not the case.
Yeah,
but,
you were talking to them, but now you talk to Jake, so now Jake's involved in this.
And
so
Jake
wait a
talked
second.
to this white nationalist, therefore you're tied in with these
and
white
now everyone's
nationalist
connected. Yeah, but why can't those connections be anonymous? Because if we say, oh, these are privacy tools to help us have private conversation, well, it's not private because they know we talked. So that would be the next implementation of our technology, is to anonymize those connections.
So would you maybe next go to like a messaging service that they couldn't track like who you text with?
Yeah, I mean,
down the road.
Yeah, if you think about like Telegram, right? Telegram got in trouble because he didn't want to give up the IP addresses of the people that were having conversations.
But he had access to them. You won't have access to them.
Exactly. He got in trouble because he didn't give them the information that he had. If he never had that information to begin with, he can't get in trouble because he can't give up the information.
You're going to piss off some powerful people with this.
That's the hard part, right? It's like there's like a good and a bad. The good is this is, I believe, honestly good for humanity, good for society, right? We deserve privacy. The bad is there are agencies throughout the world that don't like a technology exists where you can't have a back door. But if enough people do it, like it becomes a default. I believe that we're building a privacy layer that can be implemented to various parts of the internet. It hopefully becomes actual part of the infrastructure of the internet where people, the other implementation that we've been thinking of and playing with is your implementation with AI. So right now, when you use AI, use ChatGPT, they know, like you use ChatGPT as a therapist or whatever. They know all the things that you told ChatGPT.
You're keeping that like a log of it.
They have a log of everything. They know exactly that Jake Shields at these questions. This is what we asked it. This is what we gave it, and they have all of that record. Should you be able to engage with AI and get that information? Yes. Do they have to know that it went specific to you? No. Why do they have to know that? They already know that you asked the question. They have the data that they need. They don't need to know your personal information. So what we're working on is how do we implement and make that anonymous so that you can interact with AI, but the AI doesn't know specifically that's going back to you. That actually needs to be solved in the future.
I think this is all really important stuff you're talking on. I haven't given it a lot of thought. Like I said, your company, I need to have a tech guy look over it that understands it, but it sounds like something really important that I would get behind. And on all this with the, like you said, the AI, the texting, this is all so important.
Yeah, I mean, privacy is important. You know, right now we're in a world where we trust big tech companies.
Well, I don't trust them, but
yeah, but they're the ones responsible for our own online safety.
yeah, and they say just trust us.
Yeah, just trust us. Don't worry, we're going to do it the right way. And then every single time there's an opportunity, they fail us over and over and over again, whether intentional or unintentional. You know, like some of these tech companies that lose your data and compromise you, they don't do it intentionally. It's just the system because they have the data and they're trust-based systems. And whether or not they do it intentionally, it just happens.
Don't they sell it a lot too, or?
Yeah, they sell it. They data broker. Like, for example, NordVPN, which is the other huge VPN company. They sell you a VPN service, and as an add-on, they sell you credit monitoring and data tracking. It's like, wait a second. How can you guys be a privacy company, but you're also
wow.
ID monitoring company? Like, actually, that makes no sense. And no one's ever been like, wait a second. Why is this privacy company
also
tracking
my
our
credit?
data?
Yeah, and data, that's...
It doesn't make any sense. It's
No.
like so obvious once you know it. You're like, wait a second, why are they tracking me? Were they doing all that information? How they know that I want that? It's like, wait a second, because they know, you know?
Hey guys, Jake Shields here. As you know, I have a free speech podcast. To keep that going, it's important to have sponsors and support them. If you want to support them and me, go to antelopehillpublishing.com and be sure to use the promo code FIGHTBACK. They have tons of different books that are hard to get. Today I recommend Opiate of the Masses. It's a full journalistic investigation into the opioid crisis in America. So again, to support the podcast, antelopehillpublishing.com and the promo code FIGHTBACK. You know, this is something I've never, I always just use my regular thing, but I should switch over to, your VPN company and start doing this ASAP. I don't want these people tracking everything I do, tracking everywhere I go, tracking all my information. There's no one but me should have that information. No one but you should have your information.
You know, we were like, oh, we got to cancel TikTok because the Chinese are taking all our data. But then you look at all these VPN companies, and the two biggest owners of VPN companies are the Chinese and the Israeli. And you're like, wait a second.
Neither are our friends.
Wait a second here. We want to shut down the most popular social media platform in the world because the Chinese are stealing our data. But yet the Israelis and Chinese are taking all of our internet traffic, and that's okay? Like, why is there not an uproar? Why does our government actually not care about that? More traffic goes through VPNs than they do like social media apps. And if I know what you do on the internet, I know everything about you.
Yeah.
I know what you eat. I know what you like. I know what you want to buy. I know when you're on vacation. I know who your family is. I know who your girlfriend is. I know who your side chick is. I know like who you're creeping on. I know what your kinks are. I know what business you have. I know what business you want to get into. I know what business ideas you have, but you don't want anyone to know yet. I know everything about you actually. And we give all that information to these Chinese and Israeli companies. And it's like, you don't have to.
Yeah, probably helps their blackmail operations. They know who you're creeping on. You said your kings, all the weird things people are doing. They can know where to get people. It definitely gives them help for that. So this is a big issue.
In the United States, there's something called the Oceans Act, and the Oceans Act says that data centers, if given a subpoena from a federal agency, they have to give up the information, and they don't have to tell you as the user that they did it. So people will say, well, the VPN company I use or this privacy company I use is based overseas, so they don't have to comply. Okay, maybe that company itself doesn't have to comply, but the data center they use and the servers they use in the United States, they do have to comply. And they're giving up your data all the time, and they're under gag order where they're not allowed to tell you that they're doing it.
So they don't even, so they're gag orders, they can't even tell you. Interesting. So we don't know how much this is happening.
You have no idea. which is why our technology is really interesting and important, because it's impossible for us to know what you're doing. And if we don't know, we can't give it. So if anyone were to subpoena me and said, hey, I need to know what Jake Shields online, I don't know. I can't tell you, and I can prove that I can tell you. And that's really important.
No,
because, again, that's the only way to solve this
if
problem.
you knew, you would go to prison by not giving it. People don't understand, like, you'd go to prison, and obviously you're not going to go to prison not to give up my information. So it's like,
No.
sorry, it's like, I like you, Jake, but not that much. I ain't going to, I got a family.
Exactly. What tech company wants to lose their business or go to prison for your information? Nobody.
No, nobody. I mean,
Given the choice, I'm going to save my business over save you.
No, I hate to say it, but as human integrity, there comes a point where if you have a subpoena, what are you going to do? Close down your business and go to jail, or just say fuck it and hand them a subpoena? Probably say fuck it and hand them a subpoena.
The only way to solve this problem is actually that we don't know. And I don't want to know. I don't want to know what you're doing on the internet. I don't know if you're doing good or bad. I don't care. I don't want to know. I just want to give you privacy and you figure it out. And I don't want to be the person that narked on you.
So what's the name of your company?
VP.net.
It's already up and running, right?
Yeah, VP.net.
Yeah, like I'll probably get behind this. I just need to do a little research, but it definitely sounds like something that I would believe in and help push.
I would love to have you be a part of the community and be a part of the networking and all of this, because I really do believe in it, you know?
And you're the only company that you know of right now that's doing it where you don't have the information?
We are the only company in the world that has this technology. We developed it all in-house. We developed it ourselves. We have a patent pending on the network anonymization of user network traffic in a hardware secure enclave. We're the only people that's ever done or thought to do it. And I ask myself, like, the ability to do it has always existed, but no one has ever done it before. And it's like, why? It's because they actually don't care about your privacy.
Yeah.
You're just data to them.
No, most people don't really care that much when it comes down to it.
No, and I actually care about the people. I care about your privacy. I care about, privacy is freedom. If you don't have privacy, like, people say to me, Matt, like, why do I need a VPN? I'm not doing anything wrong. And it's like, well, when you're at home and you're watching Netflix and you're eating popcorn, do you want a stranger standing at your window staring at you? You're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
Yeah. Well, why do you care that there's a stranger there staring at you, watching everything you do? You're not doing anything wrong. And it's like, well, it's a violation of my privacy. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, laws might change. Maybe something you're doing now that's not illegal. Anti-Semitism might be banned pretty soon. People might be getting hauled off to get to obey.
Yeah, I mean, laws are like, they're not black and white. You know, have you ever tried going to like your city council or your courthouse and looking at the laws? Dude, you can do that.
It's just insane, probably, right?
It's just shelves and walls and rows of laws
and they can be
books.
written different ways.
And it's like, there's no way in hell anyone can understand if you're breaking the law, because there's
this is why I always get a Jewish attorney. They know how to like argue with like God and manipulate things, and it's all about like, the law is so subjective to different things. And a lot of it, the better lawyer you have, these guys don't go to jail. I'm sure you've seen that. Your rich friends, they can get like a serious, like the guy talking about January 6th, they're trying to get multiple years to be able to hire a good lawyer. He got it dropped still, a couple months, but that's a big difference, 5 years versus 2 months or 3 months, whatever he did.
And if you're big and you're powerful enough, you can literally make the Epstein list disappear.
Yeah, Epstein's first case, like
slap on the wrist.
Slap on the wrist that he's intelligent. Second case, well, there's missing minute of the footage.
Yeah.
First, there was no footage because they said the cameras died. Now there's footage. The guards fell asleep.
Yep.
I don't even know if Epstein's dead. They might have got him out of there.
Dude, I think about that a lot. I think he's alive.
Because Israel is good at being loyal to the people that do crazy shit for him. Because people don't know, he was a hardcore Jewish Zionist. Alan Dershowitz, another Jewish Zionist, brought him to Israel. The prime minister of Israel flew to New York 34 times to meet him for national security. He would sneak in the building. He was funded by that Les Wexner. Wexner, in which he founded the Mega Corporation, which was basically a group of Jewish billionaires that fought for the interest of Israel. He gave him, he was a math teacher, to all of a sudden had islands, private jets. It's clearly, a Jewish Israeli blackmail operation. And then,
I mean, okay. Elon made the claim that Trump is on the list.
Yep.
And the left is saying, oh, look, there's all these pictures of Trump and Epstein together, etc. And the right's like, no, that's impossible. Look, as soon as Trump is elected, he's going to drop the list and it's going to prove to everyone that he's not on it.
Yeah.
And this was what everyone believed for a very long time. The left were willing to die on that hill. The right were willing to die on that hill. And now we're being told there is no list. So no one actually gets resolution here. because everyone wanted to be like, I told you so, but no one's gonna be able to do that.
No, we're not getting the list. I have a question. If Elon Musk tweeted out Matt Kim's on the Epstein list, would you respond or would you just refuse to answer?
I mean, I'm not on the list, so I would sue him for defamation.
Yeah, you would right away be like, "Fuck no, I'm not on the list."
Yeah,
and then
you
Cash
can't say
Patel
that.
was on Joe Rogan that day. I forget the exact wording, but Joe Rogan's like, "Is he on the list?" You know, something along the lines. I'm not comfortable asking that.
Yeah.
So if I worked for you, it's like you're a PR FBI guy, and like, "Is Matt Kim on the list?" And you weren't on the list, I'd be like, "Fuck no, he's not on the list." If you were on the list, I would say, "I'm not comfortable answering that."
And if you're Elon Musk, one of the richest and powerful men in the world, and you put it on your platform to 200 million people that I'm on the list and I'm on the list, I'm gonna sue the shit out of you, and I'm gonna be ridiculously rich.
That's a lot
for suing
of fucking money Elon's got.
You know, I could probably if Elon tweeted out Matt Kim is on the Epstein list, I'm like, yes, I'd make $1 billion. Right? Why doesn't that happen?
It's a serious allegation. Now, what Trump's on there, we can debate, but I think he made it pretty clear that he's on there for. Now, what he's on there for is very debatable. Maybe it's something not as serious. Maybe it's something very, very serious. We don't know. But I think it's pretty damn clear that he's on the list.
I mean, for sure that he flew with him. We know that
seven
for
times.
sure. 7 times.
Yeah, I haven't flown with any of my friends' private jet 7 times.
I've never flown on a commercial jet with a friend 7 times.
I have through fighting, but that's different when we were
Yeah.
fighting together, like Nate Diaz, because we were traveling together all the time. But that was like a weird situation. We worked together. But grown men, they both have their own private jets. You rarely match each other's schedules to fly together. You just don't. Like a lot of times I'd fly to the same place with my friends, but we hop on different flights. We book our own tickets. We'll just meet there. It's just not what grown men do. Even like, you know, a good friend is Dan Blazarian. I've been on his jet a few times because it's just like we have busy schedules. You know, I still might fly, and even, you know, obviously it's rather flying a jet, but there are times I've flown to meet Dan somewhere because we just have different schedules. Like grown men have different fucking schedules.
Yeah, I mean, I've shown up in the airport and I'm flying somewhere with a friend of mine and he's on the flight in front of me. You know, like, all right, I'm just the flight after,
random,
whatever. Hey, you get to Miami 2 hours before me. Dude, just wait. You know, either that or jump in an Uber, and you're more likely to coordinate from the airport to where you're going than you are to coordinate on an actual flight.
You know, just successful grown men rarely coordinate flights together. Like in college and stuff, yeah, maybe with your friends, you want to travel.
If you're
together,
a road trip together,
or
or whatever.
road trips, you don't have the money for flights. At least I didn't. But like once you get older, you're just rarely. Like I said, with different fightings, we'd be going. You'd have your cornerman. That's the one situation where it was different. But other than that, it's like almost never fly in the same flights with friends.
Especially if you're just a known associate. The chance of flying together that many times is very rare.
He also loaned his plane several times to RFK. Has any of your friends ever loaned you the private jets?
No, I wish I had a friend that loaned me a private jet.
I've never
But
once been loaned a private jet.
I'm also not a Kennedy.
True.
Maybe if you're
Fair
a Kennedy, then you get more private jet privileges,
that's
you know?
But none of my friends have ever let me borrow the
No,
private jets.
they never called you like, hey, you want to borrow
Dan.
the jet?
He's not my friend anymore.
You know?
Fucking Dan.
Dude, you know what I mean? At least he could be like, here, Jake, you've been working hard. Why don't you take my jet for a week?
You've been a good anti-Semite.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'd won anti-Semite of the year, he would have offered it. But Candace won it.
Yeah, so no. Maybe she got the jet.
Yeah, Candace has the jet right now.
Yeah, no one's ever offered me a jet. You know, people were like, "Oh yeah, you know, let's go somewhere. I'll pay for it." Like that's the thing, right? Like, oh no, I had like a really good month or I had a really good year, and I want to take people on vacation, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that could happen.
But typically it's like girls or,
It's not 7
or your
times.
friends that are struggling a little bit sometimes because you want like a guy's trip and you know they don't have the money. It's like usually you're not like booking dudes tickets that you know are doing well.
But they say it's the most transparent administration in the history of the world, right? That's what they say, the most transparent ever. And all I'm thinking is, well, if it was most transparent ever, and this is a question that people care about, then you would address this question. Whether you tell people what they want to hear or not, like you should at least be transparent because you said you're the most transparent ever. But all these people online, like, oh, this is the most transparent administration ever, they don't want to ask tough questions. Of course you get what you want to hear because you only ask the questions for the answers that you already know the answers to.
I understand. It's like hero worship. It was hard for me to turn on Trump. You know, you look at this guy, you want a hero to save you. So I'm not trying to shit on these guys, you know. So I do understand. And I'm so appreciative of what Trump's done with the Make America movement, the idea he's passed on. He really started a movement.
Yes.
I think we need a new leader. I think it needs to make America, it needs to go on without him. Now, I would nominate Thomas Massey, but make America great with someone who really puts the interests of America first. Take his ideas, thank him, but it's time for him to step down. He's shown he's not representing America. He's not holding his promises. Whatever the reasons are, I don't know. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's clear he's not representing us anymore.
I've been to a lot of Trump rallies going into campaign season. And my favorite thing about the Trump rallies was not Trump speaking. It's just that there are amazing people that show up at these rallies, and they are very open and they care about America, and they have like shared vision and ideals. And the goal of everyone that shows up at these Trump rallies is we care about America.
Yep.
And Trump being there is almost secondary. Actually, the news be like, oh, look at all the people that left
It's the
the
movement.
rally. And people did leave the rally. He goes long. It's just, it is what it is. Nothing wrong with that.
I've been to a few rallies too, and I love Trump supporters, which that's why it sucks. So many of them hate me for criticizing him.
Yeah.
But it's like
It's not against you guys at all, by the way.
Trump betrayed me. I feel like I didn't betray him. They'll call me a traitor in this, and it's like you can't worship another man. You have to realize sometimes people will fail you, and you have to move on.
Yeah, we're in this weird place where the whole movement was about MAGA and about the people and the populace and standing up and standing together to make change in the country. And it's become, Trump won and everybody else. But it was supposed to be about everybody else.
Exactly. The people in track make America great. It's not make Trump great. He's supposed to be our leader to lead us. And I love and appreciate everything he's done. I'm not going to sit there and say he's all bad. I really appreciate what he's done, but I think it's clear we need to move on without him. And I think a lot of people are seeing it. I think this Epstein thing is pissing more people off than he expected. I'm kind of shocked that what I'm seeing on Twitter is hardcore supporters are pissed off.
Yeah, even like the Q guys.
Yeah,
they're like,
wow.
oh, the trusted plan is a 4D plan,
right,
5D plan. This is all part of it. Even them, they're like, dude, not like this. I was on board and I was okay with trusted plan up to this point. But a lot of those guys, they really bought into Epstein list, bad. Pizza, bad. Like, they really believe this stuff. And at the end of the day, especially the Anons, they're like, dude, it's about protecting the kids.
Yeah.
And once this list was like, dude, there's no list, like, dude, they feel so betrayed. And I understand that because they believed it and they thought that there was an actual plan in place. And all of a sudden it's like, no.
Pam Bondi literally said it was sitting on her desk, and people are blaming her. It's like, you really think Pam Bondi's making this decision?
She's
Trump's
not
her
making
boss.
this call at all.
She needs to resign. Like, Trump would tell her to step down if she wasn't. It's just like, it's very clear something's going on. And I was friends with Tulsi Gabbard. And to see her jump behind like the Iran thing, that was just a huge shock to me. Someone I've had lunch and dinner with multiple times and hung out with. I considered a personal friend. Then you see them all go and switch their testimony. That was just like a punch. That was just a punch in the gut to me. It was just
what
like,
happened to Tulsi?
I didn't even text her. I was just like so offended. Like, I don't think we could be friends anymore. It's just like,
there were a few people that jumped into this MAGA movement later, kind of at the finish line, and people were like, this is amazing that they've joined. Tulsi being one of them, RFK being another one of them. And they somehow get in the administration, they get into power, they get their roles, and then all of a sudden they're like, even Cash. People are like, oh, great, these guys need to be here because they're going to make a difference. They're going to make a change. And as soon as they're in, they're like different people. How'd that happen?
Yeah, it's like, what happened? What kind of talk do they have? Do they threaten their kids? Do they show they have something on you? Do they what? I would love to see the conversations. They all become different people. Who was it? I think it was Cash, the one that says we need to like prioritize. I don't know the wording. Basically, we need to prioritize Israel. Yeah. And then that Dan, whatever, the number 2 guy, there's a thing with him basically saying that, Epstein was Israeli blackmail. Now he won't mention it. It's like Tulsi switching her stance with Iran. It's Trump not holding any of his promises. Like, what do they do? What happens?
It'd be really interesting to see that,
Right.
But
would I get elected and then turn to this like bitch? It's just like,
is it in the water? You show up and all of a sudden they like shoot you up with something, and then you just automatically change.
To your family? Is there something we don't know that is?
Because it's too many people that just shifted to the other side too quickly, or it's like, what the hell is going on here?
People we thought we could trust.
Yeah, these are the ones that we wanted in there, that we thought were actually going to make a difference, that were going to represent us, that were going to fight for us, that we believed that they aligned with what, or were they just actors the entire time and they just told us exactly what we wanted to hear the entire time? They actually don't have a stance. They actually don't care. And they elected in like, okay, that's a new thing. Okay, we're going to do that now. Maybe that's what it is too.
I've hung out with Tulsi Gabbard multiple times.
You believed her?
Yeah, it was genuine. That's why to me that one was the one that just was like, just shock.
I mean,
like,
people.
It's like we're sitting there hanging out and we've hung out 3 or 4 more times and then you went and got elected and then you're just like pushing, we don't need privacy.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
what the hell?
What? What? I couldn't like consider you a friend anymore,
Who are you?
Yeah, it's like, I don't even think I would text you. I don't think I'd respond to your text after that. I would just feel like, or maybe I'd want to sit down and ask you like, what happened? It's like.
But then they're not even going to answer you honestly. So then what? Dude, are you going to have Tulsi back on?
I don't know if I'll ever talk to her again. I don't know. Like,
Could you ask her
I should
that?
reach out. I would have to like ask like what happened. Like,
Do you think you could ask her?
I have her number unless she changed it. I guess I could text her. Like, I don't know. It's just it was such a shock to me that like. No, it's not saying we're the closest friends, but we were friends on multiple occasions. You know, dinner, lunch, hanging out in some of the same groups. Like, I considered her a friend. I was really excited. I congratulated her when she got in. She was like, "Thank you so much." It's just like, it was an exciting moment for me. Like, oh yeah, this is a girl that I've liked for a while. I think she's truly anti-war, and just she wasn't that over the top of that Iran thing, but I forget exactly what she said. But it went to all of a sudden they don't have the abilities to nuke. To then she went and backtracked and switched it right as Trump had sent the jets in.
You know, and then there's like few people that are going the other direction, like Tucker. He was like really kind of neutral, and he was kind of avoiding it a little bit, and he was being really political. But then all of a sudden he'd like interview someone like, I didn't see that coming. And then he'll like go away from it, and then he'll interview someone again. Like, wait a second, we're allowed to talk about that? And then he'll have Massey on, and he'll have Massey on, and he'll have Massey on. I'm like, wait. And then all of a sudden he's like interviewing the president of Iran, and he's like, I want to talk to the other side, and I want to do this. I'm like, you can actually do that too. You know?
I think Tucker's brilliant, and he's been criticized a lot for not going hard enough. I think he's been slow playing it. He's been playing his audience. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I've had private conversations with him a while ago. I think he's really sharp, really on top of it, and he's just playing the timing really well. You know, he lets people kick the doors in a little bit to open it up, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't want to lose your audience too bad. You know, he was criticized a lot, and I think he was just kind of he was ready to go hard. He wasn't just sitting there like not planning anything. I think he was ready to come in like. And he's just doing amazing right now.
Yeah, he's smart, he's calculated, and he's taking his time.
You interviewed him, right? That's the one I would love. I've met him before, but I would love at some point to try to. I know he's not an easy person to get, but someday I would love to interview him.
I think he's like really honest and genuine, and it's not about like whether or not you agree with someone, because you're gonna disagree with people all the time.
I really like Tucker. I mean, sometimes you meet someone and they disappoint you. I met him at a UFC fight, and we talked for like 15 minutes, and it's like he didn't know who I was, you know. So we were talking for a while, and someone said my name. People were coming to take photos. We were talking, and then he's like, "Oh, you're Jake Shields from Twitter." He didn't know. It was just funny to hear that, because it's like we were standing at the fights, people were coming up, and he's like, "Oh, you're that Jake Shields."
My favorite story with Tucker is one time we went to lunch, and we were out, and all these people come out and they want to say hi to Tucker, right? And you know, he's like a really famous person.
Oh, really famous, yeah.
So a lot of people show up and they want to take pictures, and usually super famous, at least that level of fame. When someone comes and tells you a story, they're like, "Oh yeah," they listen and they kind of like want to get over it so they can move on with their day. I've never seen someone, but he did. What he does is when someone comes and tells a story, he actually asks a question back.
Yeah.
Meaning he engages and shows interest in the random fan's story. And most people don't do that.
No, he was so engaged. He didn't know who I was. Well, he saw people were coming to take pictures with me because I was a fighter, but he didn't know who I was. But he was still so engaged, so polite. We were having a long conversation. As people were taking pictures, he was like, "Oh yeah," but we were both doing that.
Yeah.
But then when he heard my name, then he didn't know who I was, but he just didn't treat me. He was like, "Oh, that's interesting," but it wasn't like he was treating me just as good, like, and so polite like a person before. And you know, I probably got lucky by approaching him at the right time, having the conversation the right way. I engaged him with the conversation he was interested with, obviously. But it's like we were having like a good, genuine back and forth conversation when he didn't know who I was.
Yeah, and then you meet some people and they're just like, they're like dicks.
Yeah, it sucks.
You know, they're like, "I'm better than you. I'm famous, and you're not. So like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to give you the time, or like, hurry up and finish this up because there's other cameras, and I don't want like a bad clip. But at the same time, like, I just have zero interest in you." That's like majority of people.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I agree. It sucks, but then also sometimes you got to think like maybe the guy's having a tough day,
of course,
or maybe you're having a bad day. Something happened. I had a friend recently. Had a friend died. A close friend died during that day, and I was out with him. People were coming up taking pictures, and I was just like trying to keep people back from him. He was handling it really well, but I just know he literally had a die guy in his arms, one of his friends, and then we're out, and people are just like coming up, and he's just like, I'm like, "Can you guys just like give him a little bit of space right now?" So it's like there's situations like that, and but he did. But again, he wasn't rude to anyone, didn't snap at anyone, despite what he just had a fucking friend die in his arms, and he was still taking pictures, being polite. So it shows you, I guess, you don't need to snap and be an asshole.
How often do you get like hate in the street for what you do? Like how much would you get random negativeness towards you?
Just one time, I think. It
really?
was, always positive all the time. Recently, this Jewish guy came up with a camera in my face and like, how's it feel to be the biggest piece of shit in the world?
Really?
And I probably overreacted. I went after him hard. I followed him, calling him, just going off, saying terrible anti-Semitic
Is that clip
stuff.
online?
It's online. Yeah, I got millions of views.
Shit, I gotta find that. We're gonna clip it in
yeah,
here somewhere.
I probably went a little too hard, but I was just like offended that he like came in and then ran off like a little bitch. He was holding a purse. Like I went hard. I probably said some things that were very anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
But then we got on the plane. Then he was trying to get me kicked off, and then the security almost kicked him off. I guess he rubbed him the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then the guys came over. It was like two black guys. One walked over and goes, "Thank you. I'm so sick of these fucking arrogant people." So, and I don't know exactly what happened, but it was just funny seeing him trying to get me kicked off, and then he almost got himself kicked off.
Yeah.
So
it's not easy, you know. I think most people I've encountered in the wild are like amazing people. You know, it's like the people that the haters just are haters online, but actually if they meet you, even the ones that hate you, they're like,
they come up
with Jake Shields.
That's what I tell people. The haters, they come up and take pictures of me. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Someone will be hating, and then the friend will be like, "Hey, weren't you hating on him?" And call him out. It's like these haters are really fans. You know, like hate and love are both strong emotions.
Yeah.
It's easier to turn haters into fans. I mean, there's exceptions. There's certain people that I genuinely don't like, but a lot of times the hate is just joking around. I can get arguments to Twitter and then be friends with them, like with most people. You know, there's exceptions. They're genuinely bad people, but like Owen Benjamin's the guy. You know, Owen Benjamin. He's a comedian. He's always in Twitter fights. I had him on my podcast. A couple people were like, "Oh, don't have him on. He's crazy. He's gonna go after you on Twitter after." I'm like, I don't care if Owen goes after me on Twitter.
Yeah.
We ended up, becoming good friends and get along great. I think I've had him on the podcast like 4 times now because he's like so funny and such a good, genuine guy. But I just understand sometimes he'll go like in a 2-day rant after someone on Twitter because that's the way his mind works. To me, it's like I understand it's not real world. It's him just fucking around.
How often do you get in a Twitter fight? I can't remember the last time I got in a real Twitter fight.
Way too often. I get in less. I used to way too often, but I think everyone has me blocked is why now.
Really?
So I ratioed like all the Zionists too many times. And, every now and again I get Twitter fights. Not as much as I used to. I used to too much. Be bored. Like, I'm going to start a Twitter fight.
Yeah. Is that like a decision that you make? Like, I'm going to fight this guy today?
No,
or is it just happens?
Something, it just happens. Yeah. I never like go looking for fights. It's just naturally being a fighter, my position is to fight, not run. So if someone talks shit, I talk shit back.
Yeah.
And so you can go, back and forth sometimes. It's been a little while since I've been in fights.
Damn, we need like...
Mostly people are blocking me now because, getting the ratios. That just shows you, like, our opinions are becoming popular. That's why they tried doing some piece being like, the ADL did some piece being like, oh, Jake Shills, Nick Fuentes, Dan Blazarian, they have bots, but he had no information showing it. No actual study was going. He's like, oh, they're using bots.
Are you on the ADL website?
Oh, yeah, I'm on the hate list.
Oh, you are?
I'm sure you're on there now.
I'm not on there.
You get passed because you're Asian?
I don't know. Like, can I call them racist if they put me on there?
Yeah, I don't know. I was probably not on there.
You know what's interesting? I just read, I didn't know this. North Korea does not recognize Israel as a country.
Good. Based North Korea.
Yeah, I was like, huh, I did not know that. You know?
No, I would like to visit North Korea. It sucks we can't. And I'm certainly not trying to say North Korea is a good place. I would just like to see it from my own eyes.
It's just different. I've never been, but I've talked to a lot of people that have been. And, it's just a country, like other countries. It's like going to a country that's from the 70s. That's what it just feels like. And it's clean, it's safe. Yeah. People are walking around. People are doing their thing. You can go to like resorts. You can go skiing there. Wow. You can go to the beach there. You can do like normal things, They kind of mimic or they kind of close off where you can and cannot go.
So yeah, you can't actually do the whole thing. But it's just, I like to see these places you're not supposed to go and make my own decision. You were telling me last night at dinner that you really like China.
Yeah.
China was like safe, clean. There was a lot of like good things. Doesn't mean everything's great about it, but you liked a lot about China.
Yeah, and when I say something positive about China, people are like, "Oh, Matt's a CCP plant." I'm like, "Eat a dick!" Like I've just been
Chinese,
there. It's a huge,
Korean, it's the same thing.
It's a huge country, I think all Americans should go to China, not because I think what they're doing is better. I believe in democracy. I believe in freedom. I don't think they're as unfree as we are told. And when you go to China, it just makes you see the world differently, because they're like, oh, China's bad, China's bad, China's bad. But it's like safe, it's clean, it's super cheap. And, even the poor people have money. And there's like no homeless in the street. There's no like crackheads rolling around, at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, at night. Like there's like families walking the streets and it's safe. And it's like, dude, go take your family and go walk around LA at nighttime.
Yeah, exactly. Or San Francisco, or That's why it's important to travel a lot and see these places with your own eyes. And then I think America is the best on some things, but then you see things in other countries that are better. So it's good to go see this for yourself. And I'm always told by people online, like, oh, why do you defend these Muslims? They don't over defend the Muslims. They would kill you. I've been to a bunch of these Muslim countries. I've traveled around these places myself. People invite me in their homes to drink tea and have conversations. Like, I would be traveling these towns by myself. Like, during COVID, I traveled through Morocco because I got there through the king to train some of his fighters. So the country was closed off to foreigners. And I went and traveled around myself for like a week. And I was going in, people were like, they weren't used to any Americans. Like, oh, what are you doing here? You know, oh, come to my home. Let's have tea, cooking me lunch. It's like, normal people think that was crazy, but it's just like, oh, you know, Morocco seems pretty safe. Guy invite me to his home. You know, hopefully I'm not going to get drugged or murdered. I survived. Same thing in like Turkey. And it's like, and of course there's bad people in the Middle East, but also good people, you know. I got in a car crash on Turkey. And then like, so many people ran in and helped us out, helped me and the girls with the house, pull all of our luggage out. They loaded it in their car. They were like, you know, because just culturally, they wanted to help us. They were going to drive us to the hotel. The girl I was with was like freaked out, like ISIS at the time. She's trying not to get in the car. I'm like, culturally, I'm just like, no, these people just aren't going to leave us on the streets because culturally, they're going to drive us an hour, which seems crazy to the U.S.
Yeah.
But I had to explain to the girl that we're in a different culture here. Like, they were like so helpful. She's like, well, where did all these people come from? Like, how did they get here so quick? I'm like, it's not a conspiracy. It's just culture-wise. They really just wanted to help us. It's like their
and
culture.
you guys are obviously visitors, and they just want to make sure that you're taken care of.
And they weren't like taking no for an answer, not because they're trying to kidnap us. It's because like the idea of them leaving us out there was absolutely insane to them. But in America, the idea of driving someone an hour out of the way would be insane. So it's just like there's good and bads of every culture.
Yeah, I think good people are good. I think most people actually are inherently good. I actually believe in that. I believe that people by nature are good people. I do believe that. And they're just bad people, but there are bad people in America, there are bad people in China, there are bad people in Israel, there are bad people in Africa, they're everywhere in the world. Bad people are bad people, good people are good people. You know, and I think if you focus on the good of people, like I think you actually get along pretty good. And it's okay, again, we started with this, like people are different. That's fine. You know, but it's weird when, you know, like if I talk shit about race, because I talk a lot about race sometimes, and sometimes it's negative. And I've called like Indians pooflingers, and people get really mad about that. But the only people that really come hard at you to cancel you if you talk negatively about them, like if you say something bad about the Chinese don't show up in your comments like flooding you like, oh,
I've
you're
never been attacked by the Chinese.
They don't do that. You know, if you talk about the Mexicans, actually they don't really do that either. If you talk about the Brazilians or Panamanians or the Venezuelans, they don't flood your comment section calling you a racist. They're like, whatever, this guy thinks differently. But if you talk poorly of the Jews and the Indians, they show up in the hordes and they flood your email, they flood your DM, they flood your comment section, and they call you racist and whatever. And it's like, how come those are the only two groups that do that?
No, it's weird. Most other groups, like if someone had a sign that said "fuck the Jews" or "fuck the Koreans" at a nightclub, I would look at it and be like, "Well, that guy's a prick," and go about my day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, "I'm sending him to Auschwitz and his family to be lucky." You know, it's weird. And I haven't talked enough shit about Indians. I need to go in there and like antagonize a little bit.
Yeah.
Personally, like I haven't had. There was in San Francisco. There's Indians there, but they're always respectful, quiet.
Yeah.
They weren't pooping on the streets. I do hear though they're taking a lot of the tech jobs. So I'm against bringing in lots of the the visas to take a good job. But I haven't personally had bad experience with Indians. So
no, it's we did this during the H-1B visa like debate at the end of last year, and we were talking about how Indians are taking all these tech jobs, and there's more than enough jobs for Americans. And in a podcast episode, we talked about the fact that Korean people don't smell. So there's like this gene deficiency
don't have a BO.
where
true.
I don't smell. I just don't ever smell. It's just a thing.
No, it's true. And the Korean girls never smell. It's like
it's like the best thing about Korean girls. They don't smell. And Arthur Kwan Lee takes that clip of me saying I don't smell, and he goes,
I love Arthur.
Hey, Indians, you guys smell. We don't.
Oh my God.
and I got flooded by every single Indian out of India going,
fuck you.
Fuck you. This guy hates Indian people. Like, dude, that's not even the context of what we were saying.
I'm glad Arthur did that to you, though. I love Arthur. I'm glad he did that.
Koreans don't smell. You guys do. And I just got flooded with so many Indian hate. And I was like, why the fuck are all these pooflingers showing up? And then all the Indians showed up and said, oh, Matt hates all the Indians because they calls them all pooflingers. I'm like, you're the one that showed up on my podcast to give me shit because I didn't even talk about you.
But you're saying you
a little bit.
Smell, yeah. you don't wear deodorant or anything, right? You just don't smell.
No, when I was young, like I grew up in like a really white area. So everyone wears deodorant. So I thought I was supposed to wear deodorant.
But yeah,
because everyone does. And you go to the gym or you go, You go, after class or whatever, and everyone's peeing deodorant. Like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to do that too, because that's what
That's
I've been
everyone's doing,
normalized to. Yeah. And then wait a second, why am I wearing deodorant? I don't smell.
Yeah, you stinky white people.
I think the clip was, like, oh, like I don't stink, you stink. That was the quote.
I'm gonna make it now that white people stink. You're saying now. Fuck you saying white people stink.
Yeah. I don't stink, you stink. Why do I have to wear deodorant? You're the ones that wear deodorant. You're the one that stinks. And yeah, I just don't. It's just the thing. And I didn't know that.
Genetically different. People need to understand that. It's like.
And that's the whole point of it, right? Is that there are genetic differences between people. I don't smell. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying I'm better than you because I don't smell. I had no choice in that matter.
Yeah, God
I didn't choose to not smell.
Korean girl could not shower for 3 days and not smell.
Yeah, and they don't smell. It's like a good thing and a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a bad thing. Maybe there's a bad thing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's just the reality of life. Genetics actually makes a difference. There are genetic differences. I cannot dunk a basketball, but there are black guys that are my height that can dunk a basketball.
Yeah, more explosive muscle. It's just we have genetic differences are real. It's not racist to talk about these things. People want to label everything fucking racist, but it's like, no, there's differences.
Black guys are better at jumping and at basketball, and they run faster. Like, what's wrong with that? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's where things get tricky is when you start talking about things like black crime statistics. Then you get debate culture versus genetic, and that's where it gets tricky. It's like that's where the subject becomes very. I think it leans more towards culture. I think a little bit of both. I think I think the rap music pushed on them, the drugs, the father's not at home.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into inner city of an American city, which are predominantly black, and you're like, the blacks are committing all the crimes. Well, then you can also say inner city is committing all the crime. If you go to Mexico, you go to Mexico City, and you go to the inner city, it's like, well, the Mexicans are committing all the crime.
Yeah.
And you go to Brazil, and you go to Rio de Janeiro, and you go to like the favelas, and you're like, wait a second, the Brazilians are committing all the crimes.
The favelas are bad. Those are bad.
You know what I mean? And it's like, does the culture matter? Does the race matter? Maybe a little bit less. You can't. In America, it happens to be that blacks live in the inner cities. In Brazil, Brazilians happen to live in the favelas. It's bad. I think it's a income disparity. I think it's an education problem. I think that there are things within the culture that created that it's very hard to get out of it. I think that problem does need to be solved, but I don't know if it's purely a race thing. But to notice that race is involved is crazy.
Yeah, to pretend like it's not, because the poor white neighborhoods, there's still way less violent crime.
Yeah, but the poor white neighbors are really poor too.
Yeah, no, I grew up in those areas. They're still really bad, big drug addictions. There's still lots and lots of problems. It's just not as extreme. There's not the extreme violence. And I don't know if that's because that's glorified by rap music and this stuff, or if there's other factors.
Do you think the difference in the drugs that flood those areas makes a difference?
Pretty bad drugs flood the white neighborhoods too.
It's a lot of opioids though.
It is now more. When I was growing up, it was more methamphetamines and stuff. Now I think it's lots of opiates, which slow people down.
But there's like less crack in those areas, and the inner city areas is more crack.
True. I feel like.
Whereas like the mountains, there's like more meth.
Meth does
it's
like
similar.
Similar, I feel like. I've never done crack though, so I can't say.
Oh, but the meth is okay.
It's definitely not okay. It makes people crazy, and it causes lots of problems. Yeah. And there's a Native American reservation near where I grew up, and that's really bad. No one talks about that. Lots people go missing there a lot, like missing women, because it's like you don't find the bodies because there's all those lands they could bury them. And that kind of gets, I haven't gone a deep dive into it, but I know those areas are really not all the reservations, but some of them are really crime and drug ridden. Yeah,
the Indian reservations are interesting because they're like their own land.
Yeah, no one sees them,
and no one goes in to monitor them. No one knows what's going on, and they're actually not well off. So there's
except for the casino ones. It's really confusing. Most of them are little trailers with nothing, and then you get like a tiny stipend from the government, and then there's the rich ones from casinos. I don't understand how those decisions are made, but seeing it's interesting.
And the Native Americans are Indians because they want to be called Indians, which is always interesting.
It's weird to me that we are all, because I grew up always calling them Indians. Still call them Indian reservations, but if I call them Indians, people are like they're Native Americans. But
the Indians are like call us Indians.
Never told me that, so I get confused by this.
Yeah, I've asked a lot of Indians, Native American Indians, what do you prefer? And it's like, dude, what's wrong with Indian? We're fine with that. I went to high school
white people decided that they were Native Americans.
Yeah, I went to Cleveland. I went to high school in Cleveland area, so we had Chief Wahoo, for the Cleveland Indians, and the Indians loved Chief Wahoo, and they're like, you can't do that anymore because that's cultural appropriation. And the Indians like, what the fuck?
Hey, what the fuck? Where's our chief?
That was cool as hell. You know?
Culture appropriation is one of the dumbest fucking ideas I've ever seen. It's like great if people like see parts of your culture and like, oh, that's cool. You know, Koreans do this, Chinese do this, Indians do this. Like sharing culture is awesome. I think we want to keep our own culture, but seeing little bits of your culture, I think is cool. So say culture appropriation. It's like, go fuck off.
Yeah, it's like, why not? It's like learning. Like, in order to culture appropriate, that means you have to sit down and learn the other culture to do it. That's a good thing, right?
Sign of respect, I would think. And there can be people that cheesy over the top, like you know, like remember there was white guys and near where I lived in San Francisco that they had all the black. They were nice people, but they had all the black African garb, and it was just kind of funny, you know. Good people, I talked to them, but it's just kind of funny. They're all it was a group
Nancy
of them.
Pelosi wearing the African.
Oh god, that was cringe.
These
guys did it before BLM. They had the African garb. They had to store this whole African stuff. It was just so funny. But they were nice guys. It's just a little goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think that again. I think learning other people's culture is interesting. I think there's nuance. I think anytime I learn a new culture, I'm like, that's cool. I didn't know that, or I don't know that, or I don't practice that. But it's always fun to learn, you know? And this idea that we want to build walls, that this culture is only for this culture this. No, like, retain your own culture, but it's good that other people learn your culture. Like, what's wrong with that?
I agree. I do think Americans, at the point, though, would need to, like, temporarily stop immigration as it's gotten too out of control, and need to monitor it a little better, because you can't just flood in too many cultures that don't mix.
I had this really controversial take that I got crushed for. I mean, when I talked about this on a podcast episode, it's the most followers I lost on an episode ever. Okay,
criticizing Trump was for me, but let's hear for you.
I think that the illegal immigrant number that we were told over the last few years is fake.
Do you think it's exaggerated?
By a lot. Because we were told it's like 20, 30 million people flooded through the border because the border is wide open. Where are they?
I think you don't see that many.
That's a lot of damn people.
I think there's certain towns that you go to that have been like, you go there and it's almost all Mexican, or other places that's turned almost all Middle Eastern. I haven't traveled through enough of these towns, so I can't give a strong argument.
Because say a small town got overrun.
That's true.
10,000 people.
Good point.
Okay.
I've seen towns that have been overrun by Mexican in California. You come in there and it's no one speaks English. And you're like, whoa, this is kind of weird.
Call it 10,000 people at a time. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Those are farm towns, though, by the way. That's probably why, because it's there to pick the fields and stuff.
Yeah, but do you know how many multiples of 10,000 you need to get to 30 million?
A lot.
Yeah. The math actually doesn't matter.
How many years they say it was 30 million? The last like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Or what's the...
That's more than the population of Australia. You don't think you would see them literally everywhere, like flooded?
It's an interesting
10%
point.
increase
right.
in your
I'm
people
thinking
is a
about
lot.
this and do the research, because you have my head spinning now, thinking like where do they supposedly all go? Where do they? That's a lot of housing. That's a lot of.
Where are they? I mean, if you talk about 30 million people, say 20 million people additional, right? Because there's always been like 12 million people here. That's been kind of the status quo for the last 20 years. That's always 12 million people here.
8% of the population of U.S. growth.
Yeah. So we're talking about new people, not like the ones that have always been here. Because the ones that have been here, you've seen them forever.
Yeah.
Like, and those are the ones actually getting kicked out, right? So where are these other new 20, 30 million people? The biggest migrant camp in New York City houses something like 7,000 people. That's the biggest.
Because it was in a few, because I was in New York when that was going on. Most of New York was fine, but there was this one part of New York that was disgusting where you're like, oh, this is a problem. But if you went like to downtown, if it's New York bunch, but downtown was fine. It was uptown was all like kind of fucked up. That midtown, some of the uptown areas, but downtown I didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, in New York City they say, because they were saying, they're getting paid per person, right? That they're taking care of. Okay, New York City said they had something like 250,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of people. But how many multiples of that do you need to get to 30 million?
Chicago had some, but again, maybe 20,000.
Yeah, 50,000, to get to. But we use this number of 20 million illegal people to say, okay, now we have to roll out all these new surveillance measures. We have to give ICE more power. We need to hire more people. And you're like, wait a second. You told us that we need more surveillance for all these illegal immigrants that flooded in. You're telling us you're doing mass deportations, but you're actually deporting less people now than Biden did.
Yep.
So where are they? And every time I see a news story about people getting deported, it's a guy that's been here 20 years. Where are all these new criminals that you said showed up?
Oh, you have an interesting argument. I have to do a little research, and I did notice Trump was trying to use that Palantir or whatever to monitor. He's using that for ICE. So, like, what are they going to take our rights from it?
I mean, that's exactly it.
Because 20, 30,000, what would that be close? Like 8% jump in our population over that time?
It's more than the population of Australia.
Yeah,
if all of Australia showed up in the United States, you would feel it, like really feel it.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little research, try to see where they're allegedly going. And that is a lot. That's a lot. You make a good point. Unless some are coming in, then coming back out. But then that doesn't really count as them coming here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're talking about 30 million people and that they're putting them in these migrant camps everywhere, then at least one place in America, there should be a migrant camp with like 100,000.
Yeah,
It doesn't exist.
For
the
sure,
biggest one is 7,000 people.
So for sure, millions came in. It's just a matter of how many millions. So if you say a minimum, at least a few million, you would acknowledge probably came in.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's none.
Yeah.
But if we were at 12 and now we're at 15, I don't know if that warrants like surveilling all Americans for. But if you had 12 and now it's 40, because increased 30,
and it does,
and people say, hey, we need to surveil everyone because there's 30 million criminals here, then I can understand why that's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But if that premise is not correct, then do we need all the surveillance that they're giving us?
Oh, you put some new thoughts in my head, which I like. You know,
people did not like this one.
Have to like. I mean, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with you. This is something that I'm going to do a little reading up and a little researching, and I'll come back and be like, fuck, Matt can't say that. No, it's just. I mean, I like having these ideas of new ideas put in your head. That's what discussions are about. You should be open minded. So you make some good points. I'm not saying you're right, but you make some good points. So I'm going to do a little research and try to. Cause that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, and when I started going down this rabbit hole, people would say like, "Oh, but I've seen all the footage of all these people coming over." I'm like, "Okay,
thousands though again."
Yeah, so I started looking through all that footage, and I was like, "Wait a second, I've already seen that clip. Wait, I've seen that one too. Wait, it's the same one again." And like, wait, there's like 10 clips. If you're talking about 30 million people, there should be a new clip every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And all these people are trying to clip farm, so they would be sitting there getting all these clips. But why are we seeing the same 10 clips over and over again? Okay, I'm looking. Okay, that's like 10,000, 5,000 people. Okay, there's 10 of them. Okay, 50,000 people. Where's the other 29,950,000?
Mm-hmm. The reason I think people are so upset, I think that they think you're trying to say immigration is not a problem. That's not even what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
I think
we
people
need to
are misunderstanding what you're even saying.
Yeah, we just need to be realistic about the actual number. You know, how do you solve a problem if the data is flawed? And this is a big problem in America. It's the same thing that we did during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know, during COVID, they had the death counter.
Up, yeah.
And they're like, oh, 1 million people died. And you're like, wait a second, 1 million people didn't die.
No, it was all.
And they're like, the counter's going up every single day. And we're looking around and go, holy shit, we need to stay home. We need to save grandma because everyone's dying. And you're like, but they're not.
No,
but they use that tactic in order to shut down the country, to justify surveillance, to justify control, to justify taking away your rights. And then they're using the same tactic again, saying, hey, there's all these terrorists are flooding through the border, so you have to shut it down. Let's surveil everyone. You're like, wait a second. But are there really?
I think your argument's important because you're not making like I think people misunderstood as you're trying to feel like, oh, let these people flood in.
Yeah, I'm not saying let people in.
We want to know the real numbers. You know, the only number we know for certainty is that 6 million Jews died in World War II. All other numbers are up. That's the only fact we know with absolute certainty. Everything else should be debated, and we should be trying to question it, and not just trusting our government.
Yeah, I mean, in 2020, 2021, when they were doing the counter and they were talking about how many people died, like, we should have known the actual number. Because if they were honest with us with that number, then we would not have been locked down the way we did. How do we not learn from our mistake in 2020? Yeah. It's just, and they think the next PSYOP is going to be a virus again. Maybe it's not a virus. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're using the same exact tactic they did that time.
I literally
this time.
saw them trying to add in that surveillance stuff for ICE. So they've definitely tried. And something tied in to the immigrants, well, not just immigrants, overall, housing going way up. I looked up Vegas. 25 or 27% of the housing last year was bought by these giant, like these BlackRock type firms. And they're probably not selling them once they do. So you had illegals, you had this. I know it's a little bit off topic, but what are your thoughts of like houses are getting really unaffordable for a house? And you have these organizations buying up 25% of the homes and they're probably going to keep them. To me, this seems like a problem.
I saw that that there are more houses available for sale than there ever been in the last few years. And they're not being bought. So first we were told that these, BlackRock and all these big companies are buying up all the housing and they're taking over the market. Yeah. But now there's a lot of housing. People aren't buying them.
Yeah.
And I think what that is just because like, oh, the interest rates are going to get better, and then the housing market's going to go crazy.
They kept not getting better, yeah.
But people aren't buying houses, and what that is the economy is just not better. There's more inventory than there are buyers now.
I know in Vegas there's a lot more than there was last year.
Yeah, before, like just 3 years ago, they're like, oh, you can't even buy a house because everyone's buying them all up, and people are overpaying for houses. And now there's like unlimited inventory. You can buy any house you want, like wherever neighborhood you want. You can always find a house.
Still not crazy in Vegas, but it's gone way up. It was because everyone was fleeing California a couple years, so it was crazy for a couple years.
Yeah, damn Californians.
But I still do think the corporations buying up all these houses is going to be a long-term problem. To me, it seems like it is. It's kind of hard to say you can't buy them. I think that might be the answer because like BlackRock, Vanguard, like, I think allowing these companies just to buy up all of our homes, it's hard to see that's a good move.
A year ago, I thought so. But now that there's so much inventory and they've stopped buying the houses too, it makes me pause. Like, why are they not buying the houses?
Last year, they've bought 25 out of the houses that sold. They bought 25% in Vegas. I don't know about nationwide. That's just something I looked up. So it's like, I think they're still slowly buying them. So it's just because they're not buying them all at once doesn't mean.
Well, and the question is BlackRock buying 25% of the houses in Vegas because there's so many houses selling and they're buying 25%, or is that the regular people are buying so few houses that their percentage keeps on going up because they're buying the same amount?
I think there's a good amount selling here still. It's just like there becomes a point though. These people probably aren't getting rid of the homes once they buy them. Like I don't really want BlackRock and Vanguard owning my home. You'll own nothing and be happy.
I mean, I think that's a problem. Like this idea of 15-minute cities, and this is something that people talk about for a long time, and we don't really talk about it anymore. But people think that they're going to be called 15-minute cities, and people are going to just move into it. And they're looking for like the marketing and say 15-minute city. But that's not it. These live, work, play places are the 15-minute cities. You live there, you work there, you own nothing.
Yeah.
You rent, you pay for the services, you pay your condo fee, you pay your gym fee, you eat there, and
that's like New York City already.
That's Manhattan, what they're doing.
That's like already with that, or San Francisco.
It already exists everywhere.
That's how these cities already are.
Every subdivision in the world has this now, and they're just building them nonstop. Where I live, they're just constantly trying to come in, and my town's like, dude, we're not gonna let these communities build until we figure out infrastructure first, which is a better thing to do.
Because sometimes you build too much too quick, then all the traffic gets bad.
Traffic gets
not
horrible.
Ready for it. Like in Vegas, I first moved out here, no traffic. It's not terrible now, but it's starting to be a little bit. San Francisco, where traffic is so bad, now there's starting to be a little bit of traffic.
But get a self-driving car and be fine. Dude, my wife last year, 2 years ago, she's like, I don't want to drive anymore. I'm sick of driving. I want to buy a Tesla, and I'm just gonna have it drive myself.
It's not quite good enough though. It's okay. It helps, but it's not like.
And she did that thing for like 2 weeks, like self-driving, double tap down, and she's like, I can't do this. Exactly. This is so scary.
It's good occasionally, but it's like, it's good, but it's not like.
No, it's not.
It's not ready yet.
No, we're not even close. And there's this idea, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good idea. Like, she's like, yeah, you can take it to work sometimes, and just get in the car, and you'll be fine.
Just go on the freeway sometimes if you have to do a couple like messages or something, but you still gotta be paying attention. It'll turn and stuff for you. It's not like.
I mean, I can't drive the Tesla because I feel like it's always yelling at me.
It'll start beeping.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, when you have it on self-drive, it does that. It's so annoying.
It's just
I'm always getting in trouble. Like you're grounded.
Why am I getting in trouble for my car?
I don't use the self-drive that much more because it's like it used to be better, but now it like starts yelling at me quicker, and I'm just like, fuck you too. Then I won't use you self-drive.
Yeah, 2 years ago, like I could put it on self-drive and I can like mess my phone. Sorry, don't do that.
Yeah, it turns it quicker now, right?
It's like watching your eyes.
Yeah, it's so quick now. It sucks.
As soon as you look away, it's like beep beep beep, and after a while, it's like.
Yeah,
so autopilot can no longer be engaged because you broke the law too many times. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Who made you the king of how I drive?
We drive exactly the same. Because it used to be way better. I use it all the time. Now it just yells at me and I can't use it. Then it'll ban me you were banned from a week from self-drive. Like, fuck you too, Tesla.
I do not want to get lectured from my car. In what world are we that the car can lecture you?
Yeah, I get so pissed.
And you can't yell back at it.
I yell back at it.
I mean, you can, but it doesn't do anything.
I just look like a crazy guy in the street. Fuck you, car.
The car doesn't feel the same frustration you feel.
It's like, sorry, you're not allowed to use my features anymore.
You're like, eat a dick.
Yeah, fuck you.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I get so frustrated driving the Tesla now.
I feel you. The self-driving was so much better a couple
years ago. I just don't
want
to get yelled at by my car.
Let's fix that self-drive and make it like it used to be where you could like chill for a second.
Just let me chill.
Don't constantly yell at me.
Yeah, like there's no one around me. I'm on this freeway. It's literally a straight shot.
Yeah,
I have
wanna
nothing
just chill
around
for a second.
me.
I'll put my hands on my head and relax. It'll be like,
Yeah.
beep, beep. It's like, fuck, start with that weird sound it starts making. It's like, fuck you.
And people are like, oh, people are stop buying Teslas because people are mad at Elon. Like, no, maybe people got sick of getting yelled at.
I agree. Let's get that stop yelling feature. Like, let us go.
So you drive a Tesla. Would you get another one?
I have this gas car too, but I maybe would, the things I like about it, things I don't like. I like it. I use self-drive occasionally still. Like it has good features. You get used to it. Like first, like the no braking and stuff's weird, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
They accelerate fast. I might go drive one of those Cybertrucks, see if I like them.
Would you get one? You think?
Maybe drive it if I like it. I haven't driven one yet.
It's like, when I put my name on the reservation for a Cybertruck, like as soon as I was like a day one reservation. So they called me early. And I was going to go pick one up because I really wanted one. This is when I liked Elon.
Yeah.
And I went, and it looks big and it's kind of cool. Like, all right, I really want this. It's awesome. And I sat in it. I was like, it's smaller than here than I thought.
Really?
I thought it'd be like this massive truck. And then when you're sitting in it, it's just not a massive truck.
It's not all spacious and stuff like that.
No. It's like, have you ever been a Range Rover Sport? Like you think these Range Rover Sports are big cars, and then you get in, you're like, no, that's actually not.
And they
it
break
feels
down
like
all
that.
the time.
Exactly. But
no,
it's
I
like the same
haven't
thing.
driven one. Any other things we should hit before we wrap up? Any other important?
If you're watching from my channel, definitely go check out Jake Shields' channel.
Yep, same. And do like a like and comment so it boosts us. And,
Yeah, don't
and
be a bitch.
Go follow him too.
Go follow him too. We do this because we want to support each other, because we think these conversations are interesting. Really, because I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I only talk to people I want to. Solemn Self-Fund, I think you're the same,
Yeah.
I started out, I was disappointed with the podcast out there. So I could cry about it. And I'm like, I get to start my own and talk about topics I want.
Who do you think the most interesting guest you've had on is?
You, obviously.
Oh.
No, I don't know. I've had a lot of interesting guests.
Yeah.
I had a black nationalist, what's his name? Io. Kamathi was really interesting, is hearing like the racist black guy's perspective, sitting there talking to me.
What'd you think about that, by the way?
It was
Because they're like
interesting,
super black nationalists.
he was like
I hate all white people with black
Yeah,
nationalists.
he's even like, I don't really like white people, but I like you. You're cool.
Yeah.
Like, and some of the guys
That's interesting,
from
isn't it?
fighting. Like it was cool to sit there and talk to a guy like that. Dude, I've had a bunch of interesting conversations though. A white supremacist, Thomas Russo, a Patriot Front. He was way more interesting than I expected. That organization, Patriot Front, they look all like crazy, but he was like, talk to him.
With like the white masks on.
Yeah, so black nationalists, white nationalists, the extremes of like talking to communists have been interesting. What was the guy's name? Eddie something, because I think he means well. I don't agree with all the things, but I like sitting there trying to learn just different perspectives.
Yeah.
Sitting there and trying to figure out, all right, what is this guy, this is the thing, they believe it, and I don't think every aspect of it's bad. I don't think communism can work, but we get too stuck up in capitalist communism instead of trying to find what can work in the middle.
Yeah, like ideology is less important, and like what actually works for humanity is like better, And we get so stuck in these labels, and I'm like so over labels, Like, oh, this guy's a white nationalist. Well, yeah, you call him a white nationalist, but he's watching my pad, and I'm not white, so he doesn't actually hate everybody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like if they treat me good, that's all I care about. I
Yeah.
don't give a shit if you're fucking racist. I don't give a shit if you don't like white people. If you treat me good and don't like disrespect white people around me and talk shit about my race around me, that's different. If you're like hating on white people around me, that's gonna be like fuck you. But it's like to sit there and just treat me with respect, and I'm cool. And I think that's how most people are.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really give a shit about racism that much. People want to make a big fucking deal of it. Everyone's a little bit fucking racist unless you're retarded. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. White people smell. Like, what do you want me to do?
That's
like,
what
it is what it is.
White people smell.
White people smell.
Fuck these Koreans.
Yeah, like, I don't smell. Yeah. You guys smell. It's not my fault. I was born this way.
Not shower for 3 days and still not smell.
No problem. I haven't showered in a week. It's fine. Hey, Jake, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. So my Twitter, Jake Shields ADJ. What's your Twitter? It's
Free Matt Kim.
Jake Shields, Instagram. Anything else? Yeah. So thanks so much. Great conversation. We'll do it again one of these days.
Hey, everybody.
As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.